Pulse is Israeli, Alfred, as is her colleague Maya, who passed the case to her.
This cult, they infiltrated many religions. They infiltrated Islam, they infiltrated Christianity, not only in Judaism.
Yeah. Of course, Israel had its part to play, as does Kabbalistic Talmudic Judaism.
A lot of Jewish people do practice, do come in this, do engage in these practices as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been going on for centuries. Jewish people been thrown out of the countries for that as well. The previous judge, Judge Mann, who was dealing with this case before and passed the case to Buckley, she is also Israeli.
They've been creating this system, if you will, and developing it in a stealth-like manner since the 50s and 60s, and have been placing cult members, pedophiles, sodomite cult members in strategic positions within organizations such as child welfare and schools and social services, and it's been and of course in the establishment of residential care for children throughout the 60s. We found a link, as we may have mentioned to you, with one of the alleged abusers in this case, with a well-known pioneer in the child welfare field, if you will, a certain Barbara Kahan. Now, Galina Upson, one of the alleged abusers, who is connected with the one of the parents. She's one of the parents. Her and her husband are connected to. Is their daughter? Is their son James one of the 20 special children? Yeah. Okay. Now they've been connected to a company, a money laundering company. They're called shell companies. There are many premises on the Finchley Road, which is in Hampstead, where these companies' addresses are. And Barbara Kahan, people Google her, she's almost like, I'm not sure if it was you, she's almost like the patron saint of paedophiles, in that she facilitated and gave credibility to an infamous paedophile, Peter Wright, who was a founding member of PI, the Paedophile Information Exchange, and he wrote his most notorious article. When was it? In 1981. The name of the article escapes me now. I'll remember it in a moment. But 10 years later, she was receiving advice from him in the formulation of guidelines and development of social service and children's welfare guidelines. So, which laid the foundation for the pedophile to access children, vulnerable children, right? Yes, his association with her gave him credibility within academic circles, in social, what they call child welfare academic circles, and he became a go-to person, if you will, for advice in child welfare. Unbeknownst to many, he was him and his living partner. He was ostensibly a homosexual, but him and his living partner were both practicing paedophiles, and he made no secret of his private life. And it seems that many of his colleagues in the child welfare profession were reluctant to voice their concerns regarding his sexual proclivities, for fear of rocking the boat at a time. And this was in the 70s, early 70s, 80s, at a time of what can I say, more liberal attitudes, if you will. And so their silence became, was a form of betrayal to the many children the thousands and thousands of children that were abused within children's homes by Peter Wrighton and his ilk, being able, due to their positions, being able to place other paedophiles in positions, in influential positions within childcare, within the childcare profession, if you will. And this has been going on since the 60s. And strangely enough, Barbara Kahan's husband, Vladimir Kahan, happens to be a child psychiatrist who wrote and worked for Tavistock, would you believe? And Tavistock is a name that causes commentators to be barred on certain blogs, on certain blog sites. You'd be surprised, and forums. You may be surprised to learn. But yes, we've discovered that this unholy alliance of Barbara Kahan, her husband Vladimir Kahan, and Peter Wrighton mirrors the state that we find ourselves in today, with the unholy alliance of Kafkas, social services, Coram, the third largest adoption agency in the UK, and of course our dear friends at Tavistock again. So this issue has been decades in the making, and this is why people are a bit of an odds as to work out what's going on, because they'd have to be aware of the fact that this child welfare profession was infiltrated by paedophiles at its inception. So it was conceived in iniquity, our social services, our present social services. And as a child snatching institution, industrial institution, I would say it's fit for purpose. It definitely is fit for purpose. But when it comes to child welfare, no, we're not impressed. We're not amused. Their moves are typically crisis management reactions.
Right.
They never expected. They have a template for covering up these situations. When cult members are discovered sodomizing their children, and the mothers report the issue to the authorities, the mothers are invariably hounded out of the country, demonized, imprisoned, institutionalized. They are amputated. It doesn't only happen within what we call secular society, but it happens even within the Hasidic Jewish community. They have the same issue. Mothers that complain about the sodomy, the right of sodomy, are amputated, is the term they use. I think this young fellow, is his name Alex Renton. He's an ex-public school boy. He went to Ashdown, and he's written about the issue of the right of sodomy as an integral part of British culture. And this really needs to be addressed. This is why you have so many MPs sodomizing children and all of these cases coming up, because it's an integral part of their upbringing within public school. And they're just merely translating it and looking for fresh victims within the wider community. And this is what we feel is responsible for the creation of the child welfare services by paedophiles, by public school paedophiles, of whom Peter Wrighton was one. And it's too it's almost surreal to discover a link between one of the alleged abusers, Galina Upson, who also happened to give the children a pornographic Ukrainian cartoon CD as a birthday present. But Galina Upson, her link with with Barbara Kahan's name in the fake companies, in the money laundering companies, which link Alex Cameron QC, David Cameron QC with his David Cameron, Prime Minister, with his big society fund. And it all links in, and people, once people follow the links, this international sodomite death cult, and our resistance to it. Alex Cameron QC, our Prime Minister's brother, David Cameron's brother, he got 5 money launderers acquitted, 5 money launderers who are linked to this same money laundering gang, of which Galina Upson is a member. Alex Cameron got these 5 guys acquitted.
Right.
And Gordon Bowden, his name is Gordon Bowden, and George Lees, these are the guys who've been doing the research. They can show you direct links between David Cameron's big society fund and the money laundering that's going on in the boiler rooms in Finchley Road and elsewhere. But this information has been out a while, so they've had an opportunity to clean up a lot of their operation.
The number of child pornography websites are linked to DMN's IP address, and on one of those websites there is advertising with my daughter's name, and it's spelled exactly this way
and the same age.
And the same age. So the amount of evidence is overwhelming, and
there's a growing public concern about the case, and people are growing increasingly concerned about the children's welfare as we learn more and more about the workings of the cult. We've got a parallel. We've got a case in Norwich right now, Alfred, where there are 10 supposed professionals, 6 women and 4 men. The lead protagonist, her name is Maria Black. She's known as Black Widow in the local community. Well, these people have been charged with counts of sodomy and sexual abuse on 5 children. One of them has admitted some of the charges, and amongst the charges, amongst the allegations, or the testimony of the children, are allegations that they were forced to drink human blood. Now, initially, when the BBC reported on this in 2010, that's how long the case had been going, they called the claims of them blood drinking nonsensical. When they are forced to report on the case, because right now it's on trial at Norwich Crown Court, the trial continues as far as my information tell me. The trial continues, and they've resorted to ignoring the references to blood drinking, and there seems to be an attempt by the establishment to demonise the social worker and to cover up and sweep this under the carpet. So we've got the Hampstead case with the consumption of blood and cannibalism and the like, and then you've got the Norwich case with the consumption of human blood, and you add to that the recent
massive rape of children.
Right. Then you've got the media campaign, the BBC media campaign and the mainstream media campaign, in their attempt to normalise the consumption of human blood. Quite a spate of articles coming out about the benefits of
Documentaries as well.
And documentaries about the benefits of consuming human blood. And it seems that, this seems to be the agenda, to accept normalization. Add to that the fact that in the mainstream food supply, McDonald's, Pepsi's, and in many cosmetics, they're already using aborted fetal cells. So you've got aborted fetal cells in the food supply, and Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and other cosmetic firms and McDonald's using aborted fetal cells in the food supply. So people are already consuming. They're already consuming, cannibalizing other humans, and so it seems to be ushering in this sodomite death cult, vampire religion, as it were. They are human, and they are inhumane. That's all it is. And what they attempt to do is to create bogeymen, archons, demons, reptilians, distraction, extraterrestrials, distractions. They are human. They are beasts in human form. They are humans, anti-human. This death cult has misinterpreted ancient scriptures, which speak of drinking the blood and eating the flesh of the sacred goddess, right, the virgin goddess. They have misinterpreted arcane scriptures. These scriptures were speaking of the blood of plants, specifically a god plant. The ancient Persians, the Zoroastrians, they enjoyed a sacred elixir of immortality, which they derived from a plant they called Kurma, the only plant they ever deified. The parallel Hindu Vedic culture also enjoyed a sacred elixir of immortality, a blood from plant, that they called Soma. They called their drink, their sacred elixir, Soma, and they also called the plant from which it was derived, Soma. The parallel Chinese culture, whilst the classical name for cannabis was Dharma, as explained in a 15th century pharmacopoeia by a fellow called Li Shi Chen, he explained that the classical name for cannabis was Dharma, but the name commonly used was Kurma, fire hemp, Kurma, the same name that the Persians are Zoroastrians used for their sacred elixir and their sacred plant, the only plant ever to be deified. So these what we call them, these Illuminati cult members, these Knights of Malta, these Freemasons, they are misguided in their consumption of human blood. In fact, many of the ancient scriptures prescribe against consuming human blood. Now, the reason they normalize it is in order to. The reason they're implementing is in order to. The reason they normalize it is in order to have people already addicted to the free radical. Because what happens within the blood, within the human organism, are free radicals. Free radical biochemicals, like free radical metabolites like adrenochrome or adrenaline or other free radical metabolites. And what they do, these cause a form of schizophrenia. Right? These cause what is clinically termed schizophrenia. Some people say that schizophrenia was a psychiatric gravy train term. However, what this does, the consumption of these powerful free radicals, it causes, in human blood, yes, causes us humans to be able to compartmentalize unpleasant experiences. So it causes a form of mild mass schizophrenia, the contamination of the food supply with these blood products, if you will. Disease. Yes, similar to mad cow's disease, very good, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. And this we feel is their intention. Okay? And to maintain their mind control of the population. They fear death. They fear death. And this is why they're drinking the blood of the children and sodomizing them, because they've misinterpreted ancient scriptures. And they believe that they will absorb the youth of the child. Aleister Crowley's tantric sex magic, this is rite of sodomy, by stimulating the nerve endings at the base of the spine of these children, of their child victims, they activate almost like a kundalini energy, and what it does, it stimulates their pineal gland, and the children get flashes of light in their pineal gland. And this, the death cult believes, binds and controls the children to them. And so the children become, this is how they create the mind-controlled sex slaves. That's where that term comes from. So the children, by manipulating them, by sodomizing them, or stimulating nerves at the base of their spine, because it's not so much for sexual pleasure, but it's more to bind and control the child victims to them. Although, of course, some of them do derive some form of some deviant sexual pleasure from these acts. But as I say, it's a death cult. They fear death, and to appease their bogeyman, god of death, they make these dead child sacrifice offerings to their god of death in the hope to cheat death in some way. Fortunately, we come with good news that they no longer have to. That eternal life and eternal youth are accessible, as every religious tradition worth its salt explains. However, you cannot achieve life through death. From death comes always death, and from life comes always life. You see, they fear death, and this is why they kill. They have no faith. They lack faith, and so they are full of fear. We come to share with them our faith, and we say to them, by drinking a plant-based blood transfusion, by drinking hemp plant blood, they can cleanse their own blood and cleanse their own sins through the blood of the Christmas tree. They can, the original Christmas tree. If you look at the cannabis plant, it looks like a Christmas tree.
Right.
And this is the news we come to share with them, that they no longer need to sacrifice and sodomize innocent children. And that's good news for everybody. And this is why it's happening in the care homes all over the world. In Jakarta International School, there's a teacher, Neil Bantelman. He has just received a 10-year prison sentence for crimes, copycat crimes to the Hampstead case.
I see.
There were so many similarities. Yeah, he received a 10-year prison sentence. It's a CIA mind-controlled sex slave school, and Bantelman just received a 10-year sentence from the Indonesian government. Obama, Barry Sotoro, he was a pupil at this school. That's, he's a mind-controlled sex slave. Barack Obama. He went to this school, and what were the similarities with there were underground secret rooms. There were windowless underground secret rooms which became hidden. Were hidden during the investigation, which were covered up and hidden, filled in. They were anesthetized. The children were anesthetized. There was medical evidence corroborating the children's allegations. The school initially rubbished all of the claims. There were a few other similarities. I can't. The children were sodomized by groups of men. The other similarities escape me right now, because it was a while ago when we did this research. But as I say, these cases it's going on all over the world, and particularly in children's homes and schools,
right? Because
they feel that they absorb the youth of the victims through these acts, and then when they sacrifice any of the victims to their god of death, they do that in an attempt to appease their god of death and to cheat death. They like to have their secret societies, their secret fraternities, their secret family courts, their secret meetings. But 2 children have exposed their secret death cult. Their sodomite death cult has been exposed. And the complicity of our judiciary, our politicians, parliamentarians, police, child welfare services, CAFCAS, the adoption agencies, Coram, CAFCAS, Tavistock, they've all been exposed. The genie is definitely out of the bottle, and they really don't know what to do about it.